Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I specifically want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and the importance of the rules, right? So I think as dungeon masters, this is a huge, this is probably the biggest question we deal with. Am I right? Is what is the importance of the rules? Because the game gives us liberty, right? And so I'm talking about the rules, but just so I can get a good mouth flow here, I'm going to say liberty and law, okay? So what do I mean by liberty and law? So liberty is the ability to do whatever we want, okay? And so what do I mean by that? By, the ability to liberty is the game, as dungeon masters, lets us rewrite any rule we want, okay? And like a good example of this is I'm right in the middle of an absolutely fantastic 5th edition game. It's really amazing. We're having the best time with it. It's five players, 5 dungeon masters. We try to keep it at 4, but the game's been so popular we had another person pop in. So we have 5. Every single player is a player and a dungeon master, and we turn over the dungeon master duties to other. We turn the dungeon master duties over every. And so one of the things that we recently had was I make all my roles in the open, and all of my dungeon masters that I've trained up, and there's probably about a half a dozen people who have become dungeon masters simply by playing in my games, seeing how fun it is, adding, going from owning the PHP to owning the DMG and the Monster Manual, and then, rolling from there, right? So it's really a big deal, right? So, so all of them, every single person, they don't even think to roll in secret, right? So we got this new guy in our game, and his name is Greg. Oh, I really dislike Greg, but I know I dislike Greg because he's just freaking like me, right? It's not because he's a bad person or even that he's doing anything wrong. He's just so obstinate and set in his ways, but every single thing he does is the opposite of me, right? But he does it with confidence. It drives me crazy, right? So the reality is he's a very funny guy. So, but he makes all rolls in secret, which drives me nuts because I'm like, dude, you're just making it up. He doesn't even tell us the DC. You just make your roll. You failed, or you made it. You're just making stuff up, dude. You're like, what's the point of that, right? I don't trust you, right? So, but liberty. He is leaning on liberty, right? So what does it mean to lean on liberty? It means the game gave him the right. It said, you're the dungeon master. You can rewrite anything you want, right? So Greg's doing that. He's actively playing in a game and making it the way he wants to make it, right? And so I'm kind of sitting here like, wait, what's happening, right? Rules is written, right? And when it comes to rules is written, basically, saying, hey, here's a good example. Some players hey, I want to run a wolfkin, and some dungeon masters are like, no problem. We're gonna skin it. We're just gonna take a barbarian. We're gonna take one particular race, and we're gonna skin it, and your character will be a wolfkin, right? And and then we're just gonna make up every single feat, and every single skill set that you need, right? That's liberty. Whereas rules is written is saying, hey, you want to play a wolfkin, you can go jump in a lake. Here's your choices, right? Turtle, human, dwarf, elf, everything in official Wizards of the Coast. That's rules is written, right? So this is the question: do we lean on law, which that has its advantages? Players know what to expect. The books they buy have meaning because they know that those rules are gonna last and are gonna have meaning, right? Or do we rely on liberty? We say, oh, I'm just gonna change everything because I'm the dungeon master and I can, which causes a lot of adjective for a lot of people, right? You could do it, but it don't end well. It often frustrates players, right? So where do we lie, right? Well, here's the kicker: we now know which is better because of the words of Joseph Biden, my president Joseph Biden, right? So I'll tell you real quick, I really dislike Joseph Biden. I just really dislike Joe Biden. I really do. And the reason why is I think he cost us 3 decades of an American utopia under Andrew Yang, right? Now, of course, Andrew Yang would have only been president for 8 years, and then we would have had 22 years of, oh my gosh, Andrew Yang was the best president since Abraham Lincoln, and all our problems were fixed, and now let's just yang it up, right? So there would have been 22 more years of, of female and other innovative presidents, because we had gone further down the road of minority presidents, that it just would have been a better, Joe Biden is a return to the 43 tradition. The tradition of every single president needs to have these two attributes, just like the first 43 presidents. Joe Biden is an old 43 tradition president. He's like, hey, this is what a president looks like. He has this attribute and he has that attribute, right? And the word he is one of the attributes. And the other one is unmentionable, right? Because it's detestable. And again, it comes back to the exact issue that we dealt with Abraham Lincoln, right? So I really dislike Joe Biden. But I have to say, I like him today. I like him today because he has clarified Dungeons and Dragons hierarchy, right? So how did he do this? Well, he answered the question of liberty or law. Rules as written or rules as rewritten, right? Rules as rewritten or rules as written. Liberty or law, okay? Raw, rules as rewritten, or raw, rules as written, okay? All right, so let's just see how Joe Biden clarified this. So we had this Olympian, really a powerful, amazing young woman who was going to win us some major gold in the Olympics, in the Olympics in sprinting, right? Well, she tested positive for a drug, right? And the Olympics are like, you out, you done, right? And everybody was like, oh wait, is she serious? Are you serious? Like, she ain't going to be able to run for gold because she tested positive for this drug? And the Olympics are like, yeah. And then America's like, wait. Like, the American community is like, this drug is like totally legal in like 6 states, and in like another 10 states it's accepted as a medical drug. Like, you're literally going to nix her dreams. You're gonna tear her dreams into confetti over this like silly little drug that has been pretty much decriminalized in America. And the Olympic Committee is like, yep, she out, right? So Joe Biden, Democrat king, right? Press rolls up on him and goes, give it to us, Joe. Tell us your opinion on this Olympian, right? And I think they were expecting him to be like, oh, this is ridiculous, right? To feed red meat to his base, to just be like, I can't believe they tore up the dreams of this poor young woman over this silliness. I support that, and like lots of states are getting tax money from this. This is ludicrous. That's not what Joe Biden said. Joe Biden spoke truth, right? And he told us what the hierarchy should be, whether we as dungeon masters should lean on law, rules as written, or liberty, rules as rewritten. Joe Biden, when asked if the Olympian should be disqualified and if she should not be able to run and her dreams should be turned into confetti, I added that last one. He said, the rules are the rules. Couldn't believe it. I could not believe a Democrat was like, y'all need to get behind rules, man. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, in what crazy land are we living now where Democrats are like, oh yeah, you definitely need to live by the rules. The rules are important. Like, I was like, are you kidding? Like, this is shocking. I was like, it's shocking. But here's the thing. Joe Biden is the president, right? Joe Biden, sets vision for the nation, right? He sets vision for America. By the way, I'm only talking about American DMs here. You live in some other country and you dungeon master there, you can do whatever your president says. But in America, our president says the rules are the rules. When you buy that dungeon master book, when you buy that player handbook, when you buy that DM source book, those rules matter. Just don't rewrite everything, right? It's not loosey-goosey. It's not decriminalized. It's not give them a break because this has been set in a bunch of states. It's the rules are the rules, right? And so while we can lean on liberty, we now know, because of what Joe Biden said, that that's not the right choice, right? Joe Biden is, he's our philosopher king, man. And he's saying, hey, you have the right to liberty, right? But we live by law, right? We live by rule as written, not rule as rewritten, right? I couldn't believe that this much wisdom and this much truth could come out of the mouth of a Democrat president who wasn't Andrew Yang, right? So I'm just shocked. But, we have tough decisions, right? And so we need sources of wisdom and sources of truth. And on this day, and this day only, I totally agree with Joe Biden. The rules are the rules, right? And if you don't like the rules, change the freaking rules, right? Do the work. Don't decriminalize. Don't dodge, right? The rules are the rules. And good dungeon masters, the better the dungeon master you are, the less homebrew you got. The better the dungeon master you are, the less you lean on liberty and the more you lean on law. Okay? Thank you very much, Joe Biden, for giving clarity for every dungeon master out there. That's what I think Joe Biden was saying. What do you think? What do you think dungeon masters should take from Joe Biden's words? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.